No fancy pants intros this time. The frame rate of this stage doesn't exactly agree with my intro clip. Anyways, this is the Tower of Latria, Part 2. After the Fool's Idol fight, you get dragged up to the top of the tower by the skeletons. Or not the skeletons, the gargoyles, rather. And, we step out here into their domain. This is another level where the gimmick is that it's really dark. And, this time the darkness is compounded by... try jumping. Or rather, bridges, in which you are encouraged to try jumping. This is before the time of try jumping. I'm a little disappointed. Or rather, when I was replaying the game, I was a little disappointed that people didn't have that particular method of expression to troll people with. So yes, darkness. It's going to be a little brighter for all of you watching at home. But for me, I'm basically trying to feel out the layout of the level and figure out where the steps are so that I don't go spiraling off into the void. Fortunately, you can still see items and messages. So it would be helpful if I was getting a little more in the way of messages. One of the good things about the items lighting the way is that if you find a dead end where there's an item, after you pick it up, the glow is gone and you're not tempted to go back there later. Alright, so that item was lovely and all, but the actual ramp downwards is here. And if you see that shadowy flapping thing out in the distance, that is, of course, a gargoyle. This is their home, after all. They're a lot harder to see when things are darker, but you can often make out the silhouette of their flapping wings against the slightly illuminated sky. And sometimes you can see their eyes as well. They also make a lovely screeching sound. They're vulnerable to both fire and magic. Although I actually think they're more vulnerable to fire than magic. Which is kind of strange. You'd think it would be the other way around. But either way, this is a great stage to be a spellcaster in. The gargoyles are frequently set up to ambush you. But if you can see them ahead of time, they'll... basically the way they work is they drop down once you get to a certain part of the ledge. So if you're just running across the ledge by an idiot, they'll begin their drop as you hit that particular point in the bridge, and you'll keep running and they'll basically fall right on top of you and gank you. But if you take it slow, listen for the flapping and the screeching and then look to see where it's coming from, you can inch up to them and you'll be able to quickly lock on and fire off a couple of spells before they have a chance to do anything horrible. And you really don't want them to get to you because they can do some pretty nasty stuff. They also have a item unique to them, a rapier, spiral rapier that they drop. It is kind of unique in that it's a rapier that causes bleed. At least that's what I get from reading the item description. There's every chance it doesn't do that, and I'm not willing to try it out because there's a better rapier in this stage that I'm going to pick up later. And that item up there, it's extremely difficult to get. I actually don't know what it is, though I have figured out since then, actually rewatching the videos, I have figured out how to get it, and my stance on the entire thing is fuck that. There's almost nothing that could be that would make it worth having to do the pinpoint falling from above that is required to get to that item. Of course, if I'm completely wrong and there's a super easy way to do it, let me know too, because I am kind of curious. This place, there's some treasure down here, but it's going to be more important to us a little later on. I'm very paranoid here because as you descend down the steps, you're basically descending into straight darkness. And that guy had a bad time coming out of the archway. Oh yeah, and there's a gargoyle sniping you. There's that too. Can't forget about that. And make no mistake, those arrows hurt. Alright, so there is actually a ton of treasure by here. But you can see that it's blocked by this giant, pulsating, horrible thing. I believe that's a giant, demonic heart. And our goal for this stage is going to be to drop it into the swamp below. I don't think that'll kill it, but it will open the way forward to the boss. And the boss of this stage is certainly someone or something that Dark Souls players will know all too well. It's 3-bit of chaos. No, I'm just making that up. It's not. Anyways, we've got all the treasure down there that we are for now, so we're going to run really fast, get back up, and continue on to the right level. Back on track. Up is the correct way to go. If you're afraid of heights, this probably is not the level for you. You might want to get a friend to do it for you. Because as this level keeps going on, we're going to keep getting higher and higher. And then we'll get lower, but then back to higher again. And then even higher still to face the boss. This guy here, he's trying to get that item that we saw from below. He was not successful. And that's about when I decided that, you know, maybe not. Maybe not. Right now there's not a whole lot we can do over here, but this is where the way forward to the end of the stage appears, once we've completed our objective. Okay. Onward to another ambush. That one I really didn't see coming, but because I was taking it so slow, I barely made it out without having to burn my second chance. Also, you should note that gargoyles always... Whoa. Watch out for this guy. Gargoyles always drop an item. It's usually a soul item, though. But every once in a while, you'll get their spiral rapier. You'll get Unknown Soldier and Unknown Hero souls from it. And it's actually kind of handy to have a ready source of those items. It's good for getting, you know, the extra souls you need to upgrade a weapon or an armor or something like that. Oh, incidentally, I did not go back and forge anything at the blacksmith. I don't think I gave him the demon soul either. That happens later. Now you might think that it's impossible to cross that gap, but it's one of those inexplicable things. Like climbing up small ledges that you can do sometimes, and other times you'll die. Just so happens you can do it there. Now this gargoyle thinks he's going to be tricky and catch us in a pincher attack. But because we caught him early and saw where he went, we're able to turn around and, well, apparently kick his corpse off a ledge without engaging the other gargoyle. It's a surefire recipe to die if you leave that guy alone. Yes, be wary of their ambush indeed. But if you aren't wary, and you completely miss that guy or think that he's gone for a walk, then this guy's going to come down and attack you from the front, at the same time that the other guy is coming from behind and stabbing you in the back. It's incredibly not cool. I feel like technically it's possible to get around that fog gate and never trigger it. But I kind of get the feeling that if I tried, the game would just, kill you out of spite. This item is tricky, but not impossible to get. And it's a good thing we did, because we were running low on spices. So between that and the 6 fresh spices at the start, we should be set for MP recovery items for a little while. Also, Patches is back in the Nexus now, and will sell us spices as well. Well, that's very helpful. That guy's final moments happen to show us exactly where the gargoyle would drop. I remember the first time I ran into that particular thing, my response was, well, it was a lot of 4-letter words strung together and wild mashing of buttons, and it really didn't go very well. For some reason I felt like somebody else was chasing me around. It's the strangest thing, really. That's the thing with all this flapping and screeching, is you start to think you hear stuff after a while, even when you really don't. Maybe we're just all going hollow. Or maybe I was right and there was something chasing. Really, flying all the way off the level. That's no fair at all. Hope you enjoy being off the level forever. What's that they used to say? Still fallen? Alright. Now that we've completed round 1 of elevator antics, it's time to get to the top of this tower and complete the first part of our objective. This helpful message tells us exactly what to do. Each of these dreglings is helping to cast a spell that keeps this tower lit and the heart afloat. There are 2 towers total, and once we've taken out both of them and blocked the spell, then the heart will fall and the way forward will open. It's pretty gross. And there's actually something else that's around here. If you climb all the way up this staircase while you're in pure white world tendency, which we are not, a bridge will appear there that leads to a special area. But that's not for us yet. No, our path is down this way. Now the 2 towers are located very far apart. We're not talking like Shire and Mordor far apart, but there is no connection from one tower to the other. So what we're going to have to do is get in that cage right there, which also happens to be an elevator, and go all the way down to the swamp below. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Oh boy, another swamp. This one is much less bad than the previous swamp. And there's also a friend to meet over here. But I'm not quite sure that I want to do that yet. In fact, maybe not. No, let's go meet our swamp friend. That is to say, the swamp that is our friend. No friends down here, only abominations. It's a long way down. Alright, so due to the brightness differential. It kind of looks pink. It's more of a reddish color in reality. And at this point, I decided to check, both elevators to see if they go to the same place. They more or less do. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go visit our friend after all. After all, it's not that difficult of a jump to make. Just don't want to do what that guy did and overshoot it. Oh, and you do want to wear the cat ring while you do this. Other than that, just line it up and missed it by that much. Long way down.